Oh god, I'm back here again. Yeah, I'm having a jolly good time, if you couldn't tell. I can't wait for this place to be over, so I don't have to deal with this freaking Arcanine anymore. And just to make my misery even more miserable, well, you probably heard of the news that came out yesterday. They extended the Evasion Clause to include the Brightpowder and the Lax Incense. Previously, it was just Snowcloak. Not Snowcloak and Sandvale. I'm an idiot. It's Double Team and Minimize. Snowcloak and Sandvale aren't going anywhere, and I'll get into why a bit later on. But yeah, they basically banned Brightpowder and Lax Incense from competitive battling. Why? Why did they do that? It's not like it's a good item to begin with. It gives you like 10% evasion. It's not like Double Team or Minimize where you can keep stacking up the boosts. It's just, 10% flat and even less if you already have other sources of evasion. No kidding, there are so many better items you could use than the Brightpowder. There's the choice items, there's the life orb, there's leftovers, air balloon if you need it, so many items, berries, and I could enumerate better items than the Brightpowder all day if I could. But I'm not going to do that because then it would seem like I'm just basically reading items off Cerebee's item decks, and I don't want to do that. But basically, I've always seen the Brightpowder, and by extension the Lax Incense, of course, since they do the same thing, as giving your opponent 90% chance of taking your Pokémon down easier than if you actually had an item that did something. And just for comparison's sake, as I said, Brightpowder gives a 10% evasion boost, whereas a single Double Team will give you 25%. Two of them, 40%. 3, 50%. Now you might say that 3 turns of setup for 50% evasion. That might not really be worth it, except for the whole part where you can use those evasion boosts to stack up more boosts even further. Whereas with the Brightpowder, you're stuck with 10% no matter what. Of course, you don't need to set it up, but you also pass up on many, many items that could actually make you much tougher to kill. Now, I know that this ban comes as a result of the Brightpowder being annoying and not necessarily broken. But at the same time, it doesn't really justify the ban. Now, does it? It would be the same thing as one of my regulars put it. I don't remember which one, and to whoever it was, I sincerely apologize. It would be like banning Rhyperior. It wouldn't change a damn thing, but it would just harm the credibility of the ban list and those that put it into place. Ergo Smogon. Yeah, not much of a silver lining now, is it? And the thing that shocked me the most, to be honest, about this ban is how many people voted in favor. My jaw dropped when I saw the score. 87%! 87% were in favor of that ban. Which makes me wonder, I was talking about the credibility of the ban list. How many people outside those who vote? How many people in my viewership, for example? How many people would actually be in favor of that ban? And obviously, I know I'm just gonna get a lot of comments from people saying, the Brightpowder, it's annoying, it should be banned. Evasion in general should be banned. And you know what? That's sort of okay, I respect it, but if we start banning everything that's even moderately irritating, we're gonna be basically banning every offensive move out there on the ground that they can critical. Except for those that are always criticals, because those can be a little bit more consistent, for lack of a better word. And yes, by the way, now there are moves that always critical. For those of you who haven't played Black and White yet, they don't have much of a purpose because they only have 40 power, which means they're like 80 power moves with no chance of criticaling, which is not very good, admittedly. But yeah, do we ban criticals? Do we ban moves that have a chance of missing? And on that note, do we ban Stone Edge for having a 20% chance of missing and a 20% chance of scoring a critical? That would just be ridiculous, but I'm not gonna say it looks like that's where we're headed, because Evasion is admittedly the part of the game that people tend to like the least. I personally came to accept Evasion to a degree and missing as parts of the game that you can't really get around, so when you miss with a move like Stone Edge, it's okay. It's my fault for using an 80% accuracy move, well, except for the part where there's no real alternative to physical rock. Well, there's Rock Slide, which is more accurate, but you lose like 25 power and the chance for a critical as well. But, I was just exaggerating to illustrate my point. But the fact remains that it's still sort of a shame that we're trying to hunt down and kill every single little thing that has to do with luck, even if nobody uses it, because, let's face it, as I said, Brightpowder freaking sucks. Which leads me to my next point, and it's actually good news. The higher-ups at Smogon have decided, against the will of a sizable portion of their community, not to ban Sandveil and Snowcloak. The reason for that being that, unlike items, abilities are much more attached to their respective Pokemon, and banning Sandveil and Snowcloak would, in fact, work as a soft ban on many Pokemon, Garchomp being the most obvious one, because for the time being it doesn't have any other abilities, but there are also some others that would be banned that way. Stuff like, I think Cacturn would be banned, and you don't really want to ban Cacturn now, do you? And as an aside, it would also take away Glaceon's egg moves, since while its Dream World ability is legal right now, it's not legal with its egg moves. So, yeah, it would be a side effect as well. So, for that reason, they decided that Sandveil and Snowcloak were gonna stay for the long run, and that is actually an excellent decision, not only because I don't think hunting down every last source of evasion is a bad thing, but because I don't think we need to enact soft bans on Pokemon for the sole purpose of getting rid of Sandveil and Snowcloak. Which, by the way, give a 20% boost to evasion provided the appropriate weather is active. So, basically, the message that's being sent here is that if Garchomp is too hard to deal with Sandveil, just nominate Garchomp itself, not Sandveil. And while the Brightpowder ban was the highlight of the last round of voting, there were also Drizzle and Drought that were up for voting, and they're gonna stay for a little while longer. So that combo ban, as I said before, has done a pretty good job of balancing Drizzle versus the other types of teams out there. And as for the Pokemon voting that's going on right now, we got 6 suspects. We got Blaziken, Latios, Emerald Deoxys, Excadrill, Reuniclus, and Thundurus. Personally, I think Latios is the only one with a real shot at potentially being banned. And something tells me that we're starting to run out of things to ban because of the fact that Blaziken got enough nominations for potentially becoming Uber. But that's something the voters are going to have to decide on. Personally, I think Blaziken, well, it's a top threat, no question about that. But is it really strong enough to be banned? I'm not sure, I'm not convinced. Maybe if Baton Pass were legal with the speed boost, maybe it would be, but right now it isn't, so I'd say don't touch it just yet. But nonetheless, Blaziken, I believe, is one of those Pokemon that's really frustrating to face, but so was Scizor last gen, and nobody ever wanted to ban it. Because if we start banning every single Pokemon that's even slightly frustrating to face, like, for example, we got Reuniclus and Thundurus that are voted on right now, we're going to keep on banning and banning and banning and banning until eventually we end up banning Rhyperior, as I said earlier in the video. So a line has to be drawn somewhere, and I think all of the Pokemon that are up for voting right now, to maybe the exception of Latios, since I believe it's by far the best of the 6, all of them are in the frustrating to face but not broken category. So, is anything going to get banned? I don't know. And by the way, this raises an interesting question. I don't know if any of you are in the know as to the intricacies of suspect voting, but let's say, for example, that nothing gets a majority this round. Would that mean that the metagame is now stable and the suspect test is going to end, or is the suspect test going to be permanent from here on in? Like, every single month there's going to be voting of some sort on something? Because personally, I can't wait to play the game without having to worry about, oh, that might potentially become Uber in a matter of weeks. I'm really looking forward to that. But that's enough suspect talk. I've been going on about it for 11 minutes now, so I think it's time to stop. Just a word on the video count that appears right above these videos that you're watching. That is, if you're not watching them from my channel's main page and you're watching them from the actual videos page. Well, right above the video there is a box that says how many videos I have made. For like now, for example, it should be... You know what? I'm going to fight these trainers in singles, because I don't think I have enough time left to be able to defeat both of these guys in a doubles matchup, so I'm going to defeat this one here, and I'll probably keep the other one for the next part, so as to not fly right past the time limit, because that Arcanine can't pull its weight at all. But as I was saying, right now it should be in the around 670. I don't know the exact number, but anyway, that number, I just wanted to tell you, it's one off. I have no idea why, but it's one higher than it should be. For example, the other day I hit the 666 videos, as many people eagerly pointed out. My apologies. And it was actually 665, because I honestly don't know why is that. Maybe it has to do with the failed attempt at uploading part 91, I think, the first one from my Elite 4 run. And yeah, it failed right at the end. In fact, I thought it was uploaded, and then it said, the upload failed, so you gotta do it again. So maybe that's because of it, because I don't think the counter was off at all before then, so that might be it. But just remember that, whenever I'm going to hit a round number like 700, for example, when it's going to say 700, I'm actually going to have 699. So it's just a side note for those of you who were keeping track of that. And you know what? I'm going to go for it. I'm going to beat that other trainer there. I think I may have the time, because now my Cresselia's actually gained 6 levels in this room alone. So it was a great idea to bring it here for training, especially considering the infinite healing motherfucker. Oh great, a Dusk Noir. Well, I'm gonna try Psychic on it and see what happens. Dusk Noir isn't known for its offensive capabilities anyway. Just under half. Great, just great. Ice Punch. Well, that's better than... No, wait, that's not better than other moves, because I just got axed. Yeah, why not ban the freeze chance on Ice Punch while we're at it, while we're busy banning every freaking source of luck in the game? Anyway, let's bring in Zapdos to finish the job here, and the infinite healing is going to take care of that freeze. I think even when you fight those trainers in singles, you still get healing at the end of the battle. That's what someone said in the comments to the last video, but I'm not 100% sure on that. I guess we're going to see. Yeah, Cresselia's at full HP and it's got no status, so infinite healing works even with those single battles. So with that being said, I will see you in part 100!